and a very warm welcome to all of you. I'm Neha Bhardwaj Alter and you are watching Game On. Virat Kohli's 49th ton will have to wait, but his 88 along with Shubman Gill's 92 and add to that Shreyas Iyer's 82. That set up the course for a huge total at the Wankhede Stadium in Mumbai against Sri Lanka. But will it be good enough, or will Sri Lanka fancy their chances? Chetan Nirula and Jamie Alter are here with us. First of all, apologies to Chetan for having, for asking him to miss the last bit of the innings, because, that's where you saw how well Shreyas Iyer was batting. He looked good for possibly 100. We've seen what Aiden Markram did for South Africa. But how do you look at this innings so far? India have crossed 350 and good enough total.
Well, yes, absolutely. I mean, the thing that I missed was Rohit Sharma's dismissal at the start.
That's
what I mean.
That too.
We discussed so much about how it would be wonderful to have Rohit score some good runs. I did not say he would score 100 or a double 100. That was down to Jamie. But yeah, he got a good ball up top. The new ball was doing something. But yeah, India 350. I had said something around 360, 380. I think that's a very, very good total. The new ball will do something. The breeze has picked up. The new ball should do something under lights. Sri Lanka don't have any chance of chasing this down unless there's a huge upset, the likes of which we haven't seen in this tournament. But yeah, great knocks from Shubman Gill and Virat Kohli. After the early hiccups, you have to remember they were both dropped in the span of 3 deliveries. From that perspective, I think they went on to score some good runs. Virat Kohli not looking very comfortable initially, but then got into his groove. I thought he slowed down a little with the 100 on the horizon, and that's where Shubman Gill caught up with him. So both of them got out in a different way. Shubman Gill trying to go big, trying to go quickly to his 100, and Virat Kohli slowing down. So from that perspective, stunned silence when Rohit got out, stunned silence when Virat got out, stunned silence when Shubman Gill got out. So yeah, but 350 should be a really good score for Sri Lanka.
Which brings us back to that question, Jamie, that we've been asking throughout this tournament to all the captains. Why ask the team to bat first, the opposition to bat first? Where do Sri Lanka see themselves from here now, given that they'll have to chase down 350 plus? What India have already scored 356. They still have 2 deliveries left. Clearly, it's game, set and match, as we said even before the match began, and Sri Lanka had won the toss and opted to field.
I would have to say exactly that. Every single thing that Chetan said, that's spot on. India have had a sloppy day and they've got 356. Can you imagine if Rohit had been playing? They would have got to 456. This is just an outstanding Indian team on a day when their best batsman of the tournament gets out second ball to a lovely ball. I mean, that first ball was clipped for 4. I said, chalo, iska to 200 hai aaj. Despite all that, they've still got 150 runs more than Sri Lanka will get. Yeah. This is just India's tournament. I mean, this was a sloppy day. Virat Kohli, Chetan, spot on. Virat Kohli threw away 100. I tweeted to someone, I said, Shubman Gill is 108 runs shy of what I thought he'd get. But still, India are looking like getting 360 with 1 ball left.
Yeah.
This is just an amazing run, and all of us have front row seats or up front passenger seats on this amazing ride.
Absolutely. So what happened in the first innings? Asked to bat first, India lost Rohit Sharma on the second delivery of their innings, with Dilshan Madhushanka pulling an off-cutter to dismiss the Indian captain. That's when, this is in the time that Chetan was walking back after our show to the stadium. This is what happened. So he clearly missed that, and apologies for that. But yes, the setup was brilliant by Madhushanka. He bowled an in-swinger. And, and Rohit was expecting another delivery coming onto his bat. And then what he did was he rolled his fingers through the next delivery. That was a slower ball that shaped away, uprooting his off stump. He was stunned. The Wankhede was stunned, and we all were stunned. And we thought, wow, Rohit Sharma coming back as a captain of this Indian team for a World Cup match at the Wankhede Stadium. What a huge occasion, and he gets out the first delivery. Okay, but then Virat Kohli and Shubman Gill put on 189 for the second wicket, each scoring very solid 50s before they were cut off when centuries looked imminent. Gill cracked 92 of 92 balls with 11 fours and 2 sixes before he tried to uppercut Dilshan Madhushanka. Kohli, he looked supreme for his 88 of 94 balls before he spooned a slower ball from Madhushanka to covers. It was built up to be the perfect occasion really for Virat Kohli to equal Sachin Tendulkar's record of 49 tons with the Master Blaster watching from the stands. His statue had been unveiled yesterday. It was a perfect moment, but it wasn't to be, unfortunately, for all the Virat Kohli fans. Madhushanka, he was the pick of the bowlers, the best bowler on display and has been for Sri Lanka throughout the tournament. Struck twice in back-to-back overs to add 2 more wickets to his tally. He wasn't done. He picked up 2 more after that. Now, while these 2 big wickets were a setback for India, Shreyas Iyer, he came out with aggression on his mind and a point to prove to all who've been saying, "Inko drop karo." He swatted 4 sixes as he raised his 50 in quick time, and KL Rahul chipped in with 21 but gave away his wicket cheaply to Dushmant Chamira. Madhushanka came back to send Suryakumar Yadav to the pavilion. India were 279 for 5 after 42 overs. In comes Ravindra Jadeja and plays a brilliant cameo to end with 357. That's right. So, India 357 in their 50 overs for 8 wickets, and that is as daunting a target as any team can get against this Indian bowling attack. And Jasprit Bumrah, he knows what to do on these wickets. He's played IPL here. So, you can expect this to be another Asia Cup final. I'm guessing it could be that. You guys keep telling me that, Meha, you're the one who never predicts. I'm predicting it this time. It is going to be an easy win. I just hope that, that it doesn't turn out to be a one-sided game where Sri Lanka are just sort of just taking it over after over to, try and make something out of it. But Chetan, let's talk about, and just as I asked Chetan, I think his network's gone, but okay. So Jamie, let's talk about Virat Kohli. First up, looked good. Yes, I know they were lucky in the beginning, both Virat and Shubman, in the way there were some dropped catches, some dropped chances. But having said that, he looked good. Though, is there a problem there as he reaches that 80s and 90s? I know he's got 100, but we know how he got to that 100. Is that a problem at all, or am I just reading too much into it?
No, look, I don't know whether the answer is yes or the answer is no, because when you're India's leading run scorer of the tournament, but you've let 300s go, today Chetan is right in saying that once again Virat Kohli did slow down, and we understand, the occasion. He's playing at the Wankhede Stadium. He's been here before. I think his best test innings to date came at this very ground, as 252 odd he got once against England, where he really set the pace for that win. He's got one-day hundreds here. He's tasted IPL success individually, not collectively with RCB. And then the great man with whom he came very, very close today was watching this match. That statue was unveiled of Sachin. So I could get, maybe the occasion got to him, but that was a very, very good ball from Madhushanka, who, let's face it, when you concede almost 360 and you've got 5 wickets on the day, you've had a very, very good day. Yes, you've given 80 runs, but Madhushanka really perked up with that second ball he bowled to Rohit Sharma. So that was a very good field placing from the captain, Kusal Menis, to have a short catching cover there. But yes, maybe Virat Kohli did once again get consumed by the occasion. And again, we've seen every time he's got to 80, he has slowed down. He's only got 100. He's got a 95 and 2 scores, I believe, in the mid-80s today included. So definitely the occasion of what's in store. And I mentioned also when I made that reference, and of course, references between Virat Kohli and Sachin Tendulkar have been very, very common now for 15 odd years. The occasion of, the financial burden, the marketing burden that weighed on Sachin's shoulders for a year with that unnamed brand, which had put out lakhs of bottle caps with his name on it, saying hundreds. Perhaps there's something brewing in Virat Kohli's PR game as well, which is also getting to him. But that's totally understandable. He is a legend of the game. India's finest batsman since Sachin Tendulkar. And no doubt, before this year's up, maybe before this World Cup's over, he will have gone past Sachin's mark of 49 one-day hundreds.
I think you said it rightly, that it was the occasion. It was too big an occasion. Sachin Tendulkar is watching you from the stands. His statue has just been unveiled a day before. Because he looked devastated when he got out, Chetan, and you were there. What was that like? Because even as he was walking back to the pavilion, as he was climbing the stairs, he was just looking down without looking anywhere else, just walking straight back up. You could see the disappointment in his face.
Absolutely. The disappointment was written large on his face. There's no doubt about it. I think he was a little hurried into the shot. You know, what we have seen with Rohit Sharma as well. You know, the Sri Lankan bowlers have done well. You know, they've just rotating their fingers on the ball while delivering on a couple of occasions. And on both those occasions, they've got Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli. So he was hurried into the shot. It's kind of a slower delivery. And then, you know, he checked his shot, because of which the ball looped up in the air. If he had not done that, if the ball was up to the pace, probably would have been caught behind, because he was early into the shot there. So disappointment for him, disappointment for the crowd. Let me just tell you, Meha, you know, these people aren't coming, you know, from what I'm hearing, talking to a few fans here, maybe even a few journalists. These people aren't just coming for Indian wins. You know, they know India is going to win. They're also coming for getting Paisa Vasool. You know, they're spending good money on it. And what's Paisa Vasool for them? Right now, it's Virat Kohli 100. They want to see Rohit Sharma 100. They want to see Virat Kohli 100. You know, everybody loves Sachin Tendulkar. That's just an understatement, really. But everybody also loves Virat Kohli, and they would want him to get that record. I think he needs to probably buckle down a bit and say, okay, you know what? Let me play my natural game. Let's not slow down. I firmly believe if he hadn't slowed down, if he had kept playing his natural game, he would have gotten that 100. It's just that, you know, it's something that batsmen do, and that's I don't know. It's up for debate, really. Like I said, you know, if he hadn't played naturally, he probably would have gotten to 3 figures and maybe more.
Yeah. So there's Virat Kohli at one end and then Shubman Gill at the other, both matching each other shot for shot. And if there's one person in this Indian team who can do that other than Rohit Sharma, is Shubman Gill. In the kind of strokes that he has in his repertoire, Jamie, and that we got to see so many of them today, how good did he look and how disappointed will he be? Because they both would have got to 100. It was a good wicket. They played themselves in. You know, they had luck on their side. It really was a wicket where they would have loved to get 100.
Absolutely, and I said it in that tweet. You know that I was joking half jokingly I said he's left 108 runs out there. But you know, I'm gonna take some perverse pleasure out of him getting out for 92, at least attempting a shot. It was not the Shubman Gill of the Australia series where he slowed down before 100. He played shots, you know, and like I've said, I will not begrudge Rohit Sharma throwing away that 100 against Pakistan on 84, 85, as well as against England on 87, because when you play those shots, you're putting yourself first. You're going with the momentum, you're putting the team first. Sorry, you're going with the momentum, which leads you to believe, you know what, a shot is on here. Had Shubman Gill, you know, been out for 92, you know, dabbing the ball or doing something else, I would have said, "Arey yaar, why?" It was fine. I'm okay, because the team got to that 350 plus, which they firmly believe they should have gotten after Kusal Mendes made the error of putting them in. And again, just coming back briefly to Virat Kohli, I hope when the dust settles on this World Cup and he's got over 600 runs and India have won the trophy, I hope he looks back and, you know, and puts behind him all these 84s, 85s and 95s that he's gotten, because the bigger picture is you're scoring runs. 4 years ago, India stumbled against Sri Lanka. Rohit Sharma hogged all the limelight with 500s, but still Virat Kohli had a contribution. So, of course, we would have loved to see him get to 50 by now, but he's still doing good for the team.
Absolutely. And in the conditions that we saw at the Wankhede Stadium, Chetan, is there. It was hot. I mean, we were talking about how... we were just talking about this, Chetan, in one of our earlier shows where we said that, whenever Australia is playing, why is it that they always get these 2 chairs and there's an umbrella? Today, Indian players needed it too. That's how hot and muggy it was there. So for him, and then the number of singles and doubles that Virat Kohli runs and makes his partner run, that in itself shows, you know, how badly he wants to score for the team. it's just unfortunate in the way he got out. And like Jimmy was saying, the time will come, it'll happen. Sooner than later, we know he's one player who can get out of any mess. So, yeah.
I just have this question to ask, what would you take? A World Cup win with 600 runs from Virat Kohli, but he doesn't go past Sachin Tendulkar. He doesn't score any more hundreds. He keeps on scoring 80s and 90s for the team. Would you take that? I wish I could run a poll. I wish I could run a poll at the Wankhede. I'll probably get lynched by saying that. But, that's my perception. When we talk about Rohit Sharma, he did that against Pakistan. He did that against England. You saw Shubman Gill, the kind of shot he played today in the 90s. So play your natural game. I mean, I'm not saying that I don't want to see Virat Kohli get 100. I'm just saying, you're just toying with the idea. You're making the occasion bigger than it is. And from that perspective, I think if he played his natural game, there's no stopping Virat Kohli, is there? From that particular perspective. But I should tell you, the breeze has really picked up. And, it's going to be nice and cool at the Wankhede. And the ocean breeze has picked up, which was probably absent on the England-South Africa game. Like I mentioned, there was a cyclone brewing in the Arabian Sea, and it had taken away all the sea breeze. So for the Indian fielders, it's going to be much, much easier. And, there should be good dew around as well today.
You're at the Wankhede now. I was watching the game here, sitting in the office, and I saw a lot of celebrities, dignitaries sitting there. It's a bit like Wimbledon, isn't it? Playing at the Wankhede, you'll have all the actors and, musicians and politicians, industrialists, in all swarming to see this Indian team play in the World Cup. Does that add to the occasion as well, Chetan?
It kind of does, because you expect to see that at the Wankhede, because, Mumbai, the powerhouse in terms of celebrities and financial capital as well of the country. When today I was coming via cab, a Range Rover zigzagged past my cab, and then a police car followed him very quickly. And the cabbie said, "Dekho sir, ye bhi match pe ja rahe hain aur gaadi dekho, ye pakka koi na koi bada aadmi hai." And I was like, yeah, I mean, the Range Rover has really black tinted windows, so it was no doubt. So I mean, that's pretty much normal here. I mean, I think we've seen that at some other big games as well. India, Australia, India, Pakistan. But yeah, I mean, at Wankhede, even India, Sri Lanka will get you a lot of celebrities here. And it's always a big occasion, cricket at the Wankhede. Whenever India is playing, especially in a World Cup, everybody wants a piece of that.
Now, this is the highest team score without an individual 100, 357 that India have scored against Sri Lanka. Jimmy, we'll just get into the bowling bit, but let's also talk about Shreyas Iyer. This was a really important game for him. One, because this was being played at home for him as well, just like Rohit Sharma. Two, because there had been question marks around his batting. We said that, look, if he's not going to get runs in the next couple of innings, things are going to get difficult for him when Hardik Pandya comes back. So keeping that in mind, keeping the pressure, understanding the pressure that he would have had to deal with, this was a brilliant knock from him.
Oh, absolutely. I've been rather scathing on your show and another show with each passing innings where Shreyas Iyer failed to convert starts because he got out to the short ball. Very, very glad that he took this occasion to underline and remind people like me that what he can do. I said before, we've all agreed that he rightfully walked back into this place at number 4 in this side, but he's just not converted. Good that he, on a day where Rohit didn't get going and Virat and Shubman both didn't get hundreds, that someone stood up to get India past that 350 we all expected. And I'm glad that it was him as opposed to KL Rahul, because Shreyas Iyer needed this innings. No better place or no easier place, no easier attack for him to come back and do it than the Wankhede, where he's played most of his domestic cricket. He knows this ground. And good that he played a couple short ball shots that sailed into the stands. He got his 50 with 4 sixes, and he added, sorry, not quite well yet. He got 2 more. Again, he also threw away 100. He had enough time. I think 2.5 overs were enough for him to get to 100. But I don't think he's going to matter, because he reminded everyone what presence he commands in this team, especially when batting at number 4. So very, very happy for Shreyas Iyer.
Yeah, which was important as well, Chetan. We've on this show, we've talked about India's middle order, the problem in case the top order fails, they're not able to get runs. Yes, he had the cushion of the platform that was set by Virat Kohli and Shubman Gill, but he also knew that he had to take the total past 320 if they wanted to give their bowlers, right? So that impetus, that late flourish, that would have given every Indian cricket fan the hope that, yeah, middle order can also do things, they can also score runs. Okay, I think we've lost Chetan's connection. But yeah, put that question to Jamie. I want Jamie to answer that while we try to connect with Chetan. Jammers outside the Wankhede Stadium, once again, causing problems. Yes, Jamie?
It's understandable given the fact that he's outside the ground. Look, I mean,
there are,
India.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm saying, like I said, there were drop catches. The 2 highest scorers were given lives. It was a somewhat sloppy innings when you consider the advantage that Kusal Mandis gave this amazing Indian team at the start. But again, when you've got to 357, despite the drop catches, despite the sloppiness, despite the dot balls adding up, despite 2 maiden overs, I think those 2 maiden overs from Kasan Rajita probably went unnoticed. And also, Maya, 3 very, very tidy overs from the man who epitomizes military medium, you know, Angelo Matthews, 3 overs for 11. Despite those 3 overs from him not going for anything, and 2 maiden overs from Kasan Rajita, India have still got 357. So it just underlines what India's batting can do. Now you throw in the fact that Hardik Pandya will return at some point, and at least in one match, he will leave his batting mark. This is just a very, very well-oiled Indian batting unit.
Yeah. And to think that even Ravindra Jadeja, he hasn't got too many opportunities, but we've spoken about his batting, and we've said that, come on, he needs to be able to score more runs. So now that he was given an opportunity, he's played a very handy cameo. Let's talk about Dilshan Madhushanka as well, given he got a 5-wicket haul, and clearly, without him, this team would have struggled, not just in today's game, but in the tournament, Jamie. He has been their best fast bowler in the tournament, and he showed once again why that is, because of how clever he's been with his bowling.
Look, I mean, we've all talked before this tournament during the Asia Cup of how depleted Sri Lanka's bowling was going to be, and then it just got worse for them, you know. Players left, players came back. Dushmanta Chamira was not there initially. He's come back. Angelo Matthews, as you rightfully reminded all of us, had played 7 ODIs between World Cups. He's come back. So it's unfortunate that Sri Lanka have fared so poorly because of, just like New Zealand, they've been really badly hit. But when you've taken 5 for 80 on a day, which, again, I know I called 400 in the pre-match show, but this was a 450 track, given the batting might. You know, you look at this team getting 357 for 8. And again, I'll go back to that sloppiness factor. This should have been 450, but it was not 450. It is not 400 because of what Madhushanka has done. Now, coming back from that terrible first ball that Rohit just clipped for 4 to change his pace to Fox Rohit Sharma, India's best batsman by a mile in this World Cup, to get him. Shubman Gill threw it away, but to Fox Virat Kohli, to ask your captain to have a catching cover there, or a short cover, as it's technically called, to have that player there to take off pace and to walk off with 5 for 80 out of 357. Very, very well done by him. And again, like you said, he's been their best bowler by a long shot.
Okay, now let's talk about India's bowling and how quickly they'll want to wrap things up. Everybody wants to better their net run rate, even for a team like India that is, so far has been invincible in this tournament, would not want to leave anything to chance. So they all want to up their net run rate, and that's why India would like to quickly wrap this up. But what can we expect from India's bowling? Wasim Akram, former Pakistan captain, absolutely brilliant bowler. He has spoken about why Rohit Sharma's team looks unstoppable. He says India looks unstoppable and it'll take something extraordinary to beat them. They're led by someone who's experienced. He's been captaining Mumbai Indians in the IPL and winning trophies. He's calm and is leading from the front. This is what great captains do, and he is a proper leader, which we've been talking about as well. But what it also comes down to, and he's spoken about this earlier, about India's bowling, Chetan. By the way, Chetan's changed his location. Hopefully, the network's going to be slightly better. It comes down to how good Indian bowlers have been. I know 357 is a daunting target, and they've got that cushion. But what are you expecting from the Indian bowlers?
Well, I think it's getting a little windy here with the breeze coming in from the sea. And, we saw in the first innings as well that the new ball was just doing a little bit. And when you compare the kind of arsenal, the bowling arsenal India has, Siraj, Bumrah, Shami, and with the latter two in especially good form, I expect the ball to dance around, move around, trouble the Sri Lankan batsmen more than the Sri Lankan bowlers trouble the Indian top order. Let's not forget, they got Rohit early. They should have probably gotten Gill and Kohli early as well, because they dropped those catches. But expecting better catches, better catching from India, expecting better bowling from India, making the ball move on a string. That's what I'm expecting from Bumrah and Shami. And just before I left off, if I can continue, I was talking about Shreyas Iyer.
Yes.
If you have time, he needed to get those runs. Jamie said that, absolutely correct. He needed those runs. But more importantly, he needed to remind the people that he can be very destructive in the middle order, especially against bowling that he's suited to.
Yeah.
Now, the fact that Rahul Dravid was giving him throwdowns to counter the short ball, that's an important point, because now the team management is also thinking, okay, listen, boss, you have a problem against the short ball. So those runs send a timely reminder that, yes, I have an issue against the short ball. I'm trying to work on it with the batting coach or with the head coach.
Yeah.
But also, please remember, this is what I can do against spin bowling, against pace bowling when it's in my arc. So I think from that aspect, it was really important for Shreyas Iyer to get those runs. And let's be honest, he hadn't had one innings of note, one innings of impact. He had a half century against Pakistan, but the game was almost over by then. So it's been an impactful innings. I think this knock will be remembered, and the fact that he will be in consideration in the running for the South Africa game. I think that's the important game, how he tackles the South African bowling in Kolkata on a bouncier pitch. I think that will be the real test of Shreyas Iyer.
There are some lovely visuals of this Indian team just bonding. They're standing in a circle, of course, waiting for their second innings to begin, but all cheerful, happy. They know that they've put up a really big total, and that they are in a comfortable position against a Sri Lankan side. So it's nice to see everybody in it together. I'm wondering, and I know that I'm thinking far ahead, but if there were special graphics that were running about the Indian team and the man of the match, and how every match somebody else has won, except Rohit Sharma. He's won it twice, but there's always been somebody else. KL Rahul was in that first match against Australia, an absolutely brilliant knock by him. Then Rohit Sharma came, scored a wonderful 100. We were there at that game, all three of us. Fantastic innings to watch. Jasprit Bumrah showing what he can do when India beat Pakistan by 7 wickets. He had them bamboozled. They had no idea what hit them. And then there was Virat Kohli, man of the match against Bangladesh, where he finally got to his 100, right? That was the one where he scored 103. Then there was New Zealand, in which he missed his 100, but the man of the match was Mohammad Shami, who just came into the game and then proved what his worth is in this side, that even as he comes in, he does that, playing an innings, or getting wickets of impact. Then there is Rohit Sharma on the last game that India won against England by 100 runs, him once again showing what he's capable of in this match. So, different man of the match performances. Everybody's chipping in. Rohit Sharma has got that twice. I'm wondering today, who's going to be your man of the match? It's an interesting one.
He hasn't got it yet.
Huh?
Shubman Gill, he hasn't
got it yet. Shreyas Iyer also hasn't got it, no?
I mean, let's wait and watch how the Indian bowling goes. I mean, if you have a hat trick or a 5-4, it just depends really. Although bowlers tend to not get man of the matches or player of the matches, since we are in the general neutral sport now. So you don't really get player of the matches now to bowlers too much. I was surprised Shami got that.
Bumrah got that,
I
yeah.
think, yeah. So I think Shubman Gill is a good shout.
Yeah.
92, he scored the most runs, or maybe even Shreyas Iyer, who knows? But let's wait and watch how the
Yeah.
Indian bowlers go, how the Indian bowlers fare, and then we will
No,
see.
I'm just wondering because today there's no complete standout performance in that sense. No one's got 100. There are 3, one in 90s, two in 80s.
Wait.
Was that JB?
It's coming, wait.
Yeah, no, I am going to wait for that one. But talking about India's bowling now, what are they going to do? Jasprit Bumrah straight up, Mohammad Shami as well as Siraj, want to get in the wickets because it's their openers who if they do the damage, things might get slightly tricky even if it's a big target. Jamie?
Oh, sorry, me. Look, this is one of those decks where if the dew factor comes in, someone like a Pathum Nissanka could do real damage because he's explosive, and someone like a Kusal Mendes could do damage. But again, I know this is not like the 2 tracks that I'm about to mention, but earlier this year in that final dead rubber match, Trivandrum, India made 390. Shubman Gill got runs, Virat Kohli got runs, and Mohammad Siraj bowled, I think, 10 overs almost on the trot. Rohit Sharma mentioned this match when Mia Bhai mujhse bol rahe the, "Arey de do," bananas and all those power aids were brought onto the field. He got 4 overs. He got 4 wickets, and Sri Lanka were bowled out for 73. And then 6 weeks ago, it was Siraj who bowled Sri Lanka out for 50. Not those conditions, but if anything comes close to that, Chetan has mentioned the breeze. We've seen how difficult it can be under lights. Given his absence so far in the wickets column, the way that Bumrah and Mohammad Shami is done, I'm backing Siraj for that spell, which might just. I've been horrible with my predictions today. I've jinxed a couple guys, but this could be that spell which gives him the player of the match because God knows he's due for that one Mohammad Siraj spell against his favorite team. आज होगा मेरे हिसाब से.
हाँ, और अगर रोहित शर्मा had seen this show by any chance, 1% chance if he'd seen the show, he would say it's because of you, because you said he'll get a double 100 and also 400 as the total for India. Yes, Chetan?
Not just Rohit Sharma. We've got so many teams on the wrong side of it, haven't we?
That's true. That's true.
England. So, first of all, England will come after us. That you got us to be in the semi-finals and whatnot. We've really screwed this tournament up really badly with our predictions, and I'm pretty.
Oh my gosh, we've lost his network again. But that's another reason. That's another reason why I've started taking predictions more seriously since they started going all wrong, because then it's just fun to put them on the spot. But talking about this team and how good India have been, I want to go back to Virat Kohli, Jamie, and ask you about how special that innings was, because there was a moment, I don't know if you were watching at that time, but there was just this very chota-sa moment where Virat Kohli ran a single and turned around instantly wanting to take another run, whereas Shubman Gill, the younger out of the two, ran that single really quickly and couldn't stop himself because of the acceleration, inertia, whatever. So he kept running, and he turned around and he started laughing because Kohli was demanding another run from him. And he said, how can I do it? And Kohli's like, why are you running all the way? Turn around and run back. That's the kind of expectations Virat Kohli has from his partners, but that's also something that he gives back, as a batting partner. And it's special to see him that fit and to be able to do that.
No, I saw that moment and immediately my thought was, it's okay. I'm sure Virat Kohli is going to forgive him. And at the same time, watching that camaraderie, I started to think, and I was going to hop onto Stats Guru and do some searching. I said, you know what, don't jinx it. I thought, when has it happened before that Shubman Gill has raised the one-day 100 in Virat Kohli's presence? And has it happened before that Virat Kohli's raised the one-day 100 in Shubman Gill's presence? Because I wanted to see, we're seeing the master and the apprentice, we're seeing the heir apparent, we're seeing the current and the future of Indian batting. And like we've all discussed, if there's one batsman in this Indian team who could perhaps, again, I don't like to compare and I'm sure I'll jinx him, but if there's one batsman who is going to lead India and bat at number 4 at 3 in 1 days and 4 for a long time, I think it will be Shubman Gill. So I was looking at that jugalbandi, as they say, between these two all throughout their batting partnership, and I noticed that moment which you asked me about. But coming back to not just Virat Kohli, but coming back to Shubman Gill, both of them threw away hundreds. Shubman Gill literally because he played an aggressive shot, and
Yeah.
that's not something that we've seen, to be honest, from Shubman Gill when he's near landmarks. Understandably, he like Iyer, like KL Rahul, like Kohli, he does slow down around the 80, 85 mark. Understandable because he's got that ability, like Rohit does, of getting 200s, which is why he is one of a very few Indian batsmen to get 200. Virat Kohli has not got to 200, but this year he's got 166 not out. He's got 185 odd not out. And again, today, especially given the conditions, sapping, very, very tough to run doubles. But if there was one batsman after the openers who could have pushed for a maiden double hundred, it was Virat Kohli. So, like I said earlier, when Chetan was there, I hope he doesn't look back and worry too much about these 3 aborted hundreds, because he's going to have many, many more hundreds piled onto his name as long as he's playing ODIs for India.
For Sri Lanka now, they're out. Their openers are out in the middle. Jamie, to think that you have been set a target of 358, what do you think they will be approaching this as? They clearly know that they made an error by asking India to bat first, and Indians weren't complaining. But now with that kind of target, which hasn't been chased before, definitely between these two teams, to think that, we've got to chase it down, what will Sri Lanka do?
Look, they're going to have to. They're going to have to just go hard in the first 10. It is their best chance. This is a very good batting deck. Teams have come close to getting 330, 340 before this World Cup on this deck. So if we look beyond the 2 blunders that captains at this very ground have made when putting South Africa into bat, and both times it's happened at the Wankhede this World Cup, South Africa have got easily past 350. Look, they have to get going. And like I mentioned, Pathum Nissanka is one player. He's not going to win the match. He's not going to change the course of Sri Lanka's World Cup campaign. But Pathum Nissanka will really have to go because Dimuth Karunaratne is not going to be able to do it. That's too much to expect Sadira Samaravikrama, Angelo Matthews, and Charat Asalanka to do. The batting, unfortunately, has rested almost entirely on Nissanka, Kusal Mendes, and Samaravikrama. But, chasing 358 against the best bowling attack in this World Cup, it's going to be very, very, very tough for Sri Lanka to do.
It's got a wicket first delivery of Pathum Nissanka. They've reviewed it, but
there
the very first delivery, Chetan, I'm sorry I made you miss that as well. And this would have been more fun than Rohit Sharma, definitely Rohit Sharma getting out. Maybe you need to make plans, early evening plans with your friends in Bombay.
Maybe, just maybe. Although I wouldn't think it's going to be similar as the Asia Cup, because every time we predict something, it just goes bad. I still think they would be able to get 150 odd. India would try and see what they can do in terms of their bowler management. Even in the pre-show, I talked about it. For India's perspective, bowler management is of the utmost importance. You'll get the 2 points very, very easily tonight. You'll qualify for the semi-finals easily tonight. But it's that semi-final and the final and the need to retain a fit bowling attack, because we don't know, again, is Hardik Pandya coming back or not. So, it just depends how. And I would also like to see, how on this track, Kuldeep Yadav and Ravindra Jadeja, how they go. Because if we are not playing Pakistan, then India is playing its semi-final at the Wankhede. We'll be back here on the 15th. So it just depends. You would want to see how either your pacers and your spinners go. And oh my God, the humidity is just too high at the moment.
And
really
as
buggy.
Jamie just did this, we can tell you sitting here,
my
Chetan,
horse.
that Pathum Nissanka is out. First delivery. What a start.
Chetan should be inside the stadium right now watching this. He loves the Wankhede.
These are occupational hazard. We've all had to deal with it, Chetan. We've all had to deal with it.
My hair's just gone curly just by standing outside for half an hour. I just washed my face before the show, and it's gone all curly just with the humidity here. It's amazing. Mumbai is amazing.
I won't make you stand much longer in case you're not in a presentable shape after a while with curly hair. But just quickly, guys, your predictions before I wrap this up. I still have a couple of minutes. So, yeah, 1 wicket gone, Jamie, already. Jasprit Bumrah, Indian bowling will be, that they'll be in with, the aggression that one is expected of them, but also because they've just got a wicket first delivery. What are you looking at now?
I'm going to stick my neck out like I've done many, many times, and I missed most of them. If Sri Lanka can get to the first 10 without losing 5 wickets, they won't cross 150. Otherwise, it's blowing away time for Sri Lanka.
150, huh? If they can cross, what did you say?
Maximum. If they get past Siraj and Bumrah without losing half their side, otherwise, I mean, 150. If they don't, then we're looking at 80, 90 all out.
Too many ifs and buts, but okay. Chetan, what?
Maximum 150, I'm saying. There you go. You've got it from me.
Okay. What about you, Chetan?
I will also agree with that. I think the first 20 overs where India will go hard with Bumrah, Shami and Siraj, I think that's really crucial. I think if they don't lose half their side, I still don't see them crossing 180. So I'll go with 180. But again, it's just going to be about the first 20 overs, how hard India goes.
I have to ask you this though, Chetan. What was the conversation like when India were batting like this in the press box? To see Virat Kohli, I asked this to Jamie as well, to see, the current and the future of Indian cricket and the kind of batting that we saw from both of them. Of course, hundreds for taking, but could not. But having said that, how were the journalists reacting to that, especially the Sri Lankan journalists?
I mean, I haven't been sitting with the Sri Lankan journalists. I started with a couple of Indian journalists, and one of them had already written his copy about Virat Kohli getting that record, 49th, 100 at Sachin Tendulkar's ground. The whole copy was ready. He's from digital platform, so he had it all written. First of all, my copy will be published, etc., etc. But yeah, I told him, there's still 14 runs to go. Just hold your horses.
Yeah.
Kohli has held his horses. He's not rushing to the 100. I think you should also just hold his horses. It was pretty much a lot of disappointment inside the press box. Hill didn't get to his 100. Then immediately after, Kohli didn't get to his 100.
Yeah.
Kind of a stunned silence from the stadium into the press box. But yeah, that's how the rub of the green goes sometimes.
When Rohit Sharma got out, did they think that India would sort of get, I mean, of course, it's a great batting. But at that time, suddenly, was there this feeling that, oh my gosh, are we looking at a possible upset? Is that even possible?
No, for a minute, yes. I mean, for a minute, yes, because I went up and I was shocked. Rohit is already gone.
Okay, it looks like... Chetan, I'm going to let you go. I don't want your hair getting all curly, so please go enjoy the game. Thank you so much. We're out of time, but we're going to wrap this up. India have already got a wicket. Bumrah, the first delivery, he's already taken a wicket. Pathum Nissanka, he's back in the hut. How long before we can see another Indian victory? Hopefully, it'll be quick. That's what we are all wishing for. But 357 for 8, with Shubman Gill scoring a 92, Virat Kohli 88. It was once again a batting masterclass, especially when some of the things weren't going right for this Indian batting. They still managed to get to 357 for 8. That's how dominant this team has been. We're going to wrap this up. Jamie Alter, thank you so much for joining us. Chetan Arula as well. That's it. News 9 Live is what you need to subscribe to for all the latest from the world of sports. For now, goodbye. Thanks for watching.
News 9 big coverage of 5 assembly polls. Mandate 2023.
United States has always been seen as this world power, and they do not want this image to go away.
Any attack which is simultaneous on the Gaza Strip will create a public opinion against America.
So therefore they cannot be entirely pro-Israel and they cannot be entirely anti or even swing on the other side and become pro-Arab.
And with a fresh war brewing in the Middle East, the trade, the economy and the business is going to miserably suffer, and that's the last thing that Biden would want.
A worst possible scenario for US President Joe Biden as he visits Israel. Hours before his touchdown, a hospital in Gaza is bombed, leaving hundreds dead, and a blame game between Israel and the Arab world begins.
I was deeply saddened and outraged by the explosion at the hospital in Gaza yesterday. And based on what I've seen, it appears as though it was done by the other team, not you.
Biden's meetings with Palestinian leaders have been called off.
على إلغاء القمة المقررة في عمان اليوم مع الرئيس بايدن.
And the balancing act for the world's sole superpower has become even more precarious.
US has traditionally had a great amount of support for Israel. We've also seen close to 6 million Jews actually staying in the United States, being a part of the prosperous economy.
The flip-flop of relations between Iran, Iraq, Saudi Arabia with the Western world makes it very complex, and I suppose Israel gives them a toehold in that area.
Today, the US interest in the Arab world is to keep out China and Iran. The interest of the United States of America was to keep supply lines of oil open.
The Suez Canal has been one of the most important trade points, and any disruption in this area really causes a big concern.
After the initial shock of the terror attacks on Israel, Biden's top diplomat, United States Secretary of State Anthony Blinken, went on a 2-day trip to Israel and Jordan. Eventually, he was in the region for nearly a week, holding meetings across 7 countries.
Biden, since the war began between Israel and Hamas, has reflected on the pain and the agony that the Jews have undergone in Israel. He has also said that US will militarily support Israel.
We must be crystal clear. We stand with Israel.
And has already sent in 2 aircraft carriers, which are massive.
The American presence at the moment is also a warning for any surprises which might come from the proxies which are not completely at the moment visible.
But also a message from United States to Iran and several other players in the region to not interfere or intervene in the war between Israel and Hamas.
The worry for America is that the Hezbollah should not get in. Hezbollah has something like 2 lakh rockets. Imagine if they fire 30% of it on the western borders of Israel, what will happen? No Iron Dome can sustain that.
The cancellation of talks by Jordanian and Palestine authorities indicates how the United States is being pushed into a corner. Israel is committed to a ground offensive on Gaza, and with Hamas supporter Iran joining hands with Saudi Arabia, America's role as a global mediator could be in jeopardy due to its closeness to the Jewish nation.
Americans are saying it's going to be not a great idea to step in and take over the charge of Gaza. All this they are saying for the simple reason that this would anger the Arab world.
Any attack which is on the Gaza Strip will create a public opinion against America, will galvanize the entire West Asia.
Current problem takes them away from certain agreements that they had almost reached, and they were now to bear fruits. And those agreements will not bear fruits if the Americans do not talk the language of balance. So therefore they cannot be entirely pro-Israel and they cannot be entirely anti or even swing on the other side and become pro-Arab.
China, Russia, Iran. They want to disturb the American hegemony. China has already done it in Taiwan. Iran has done it in West Asia, Israel. Russians have done it in Ukraine.
with a long war in Europe and with a fresh war brewing in the Middle East, the trade, the economy, and the business is going to miserably suffer, and that's the last thing that Biden would want.
There are many other movements which are happening. Putin is meeting Xi Jinping. I think there is a large movement of Iranians and the Arabs.
So the recent meeting between the Iranian leadership and the Saudi elites was mediated by China. So America is not the global mediator. China is emerging as one with the Russian help. That's where the problem is.
The Israeli Defense Forces have launched a raid into northern Gaza using tanks and infantry. This is the IDF's first publicized ground assault into Hamas-controlled Gaza. Now let's try and make sense of this video released by the IDF. This is infrared footage shot by drones, which almost certainly means that the raid was carried out at night. This infrared footage has a black hot setting, which means that the hot parts of the video, whether it's the tank engine emissions or the explosions, are all in black. But now what is more interesting is that the column of armored vehicles, Merkavas, they are being led by a very interesting vehicle, which is an armored bulldozer. Now this is the kind of vehicle that the IDF has been using in urban combat. It's one of the very few militaries in the world that has a dedicated fleet of these armored bulldozers. It's heavily protected. As you can see, the crew cabin is bulletproof windows. It's got slatted armor to protect the crew from snipers and RPG rounds. These usually clear obstructions in urban settings, and you're going to see a lot of these armored bulldozers being used in the kind of urban combat in Gaza that we are expected to see in the days ahead. Now, the other interesting aspect of the Merkava tanks that you saw in the IR footage are these Merkava 4 tanks with what are called cope cages. Now, these cope cages are specially modified structures on top of the Merkava, which is a very heavily protected tank, but this is what protects the tank from drones that drop munitions. Now, this is a product, this kind of an innovation came out during the Ukraine-Russia war. It is meant to protect tanks which are very vulnerable at the top of the hull and the turret from UAVs, from drones dropping munitions. Now, Hamas is known to have an array of explosive drones which they used to destroy Israeli watchtowers ahead of the October 7th attack. And these vehicles that you see with the specially protected cope cages that look a little ungainly, but they get the job done. They protect the tank from strikes from UAVs, from kamikaze drones, from munitions dropping out of the skies. They get the job done as far as the IDF is done. And this again is a very unique feature of these vehicles that you're going